Hi guys, it's Crystal with Design Bundles. Today we're going to be using a mixture of things. So we're going to be using the Sawgrass Chromoblast ink so that way we could get a really cute design here. And then we're going to be using a mixture between Glitter HTV, we've got the Caesar Sparkle, and their Electric. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go over all of our stuff. So we've got a red, white, and moo design. How super adorable is this? This is a PNG. You could definitely do sublimation with this. For me today, I'm using Chromoblast because I'm using 100% cotton. So the cool thing about Chromoblast is you can use it with 100% cotton. So if you guys don't know anything about Chromoblast, I'll have a video above me or down below because I have some here on the channel. All right, so we're going to be using this cow print SVG also as well. So we're going to be using that with some black glitter. So I've got a variety of HTVs here. I've got some Caesar Sparkle along with their Electric, and then I've got some different glitters as well as some red Cricut iron-on. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that we want to do is jump over to the iPad where I've already pulled up my SVG design. So I've already uploaded this into Cricut Design Space. We're using the app here with the iPad with the Cricut Explorer Air 2. So I'm actually going to size this twice. I'm going to do one that is a full like 11 by 5 so I can fill up a 12 by 12 and then about an 8 by 8. That way I get some different sizes with this cow print so I can kind of mix them up. So I'm going to be using the bigger mat today so that way I can cut out on a full, I think these are like 18 inches long, 24 inches, something like that. All right, so at the same time, I don't even have to start a new page. I can go ahead and, load my next stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the basic shape star, and I'm actually going to size this in 2 different sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and size 2 different ways here. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it again, and then what I'll actually do is I'm actually going to kind of take my pen here and go around those 3, and then I'm going to hit duplicate. That way I don't have to do it a ton of times, and I can just continue to duplicate. I can actually select all of those again and duplicate to do it a lot faster. So then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and change the colors of these over here at the mats. So instead of going through and individually changing a few of these in different colors, which I could have done ahead of time and then duplicated those colors, but you can actually do it right here on the mat. That way I don't have to load multiple mats. I'm going to have them all on the same mat so I can just layer 3 colors on the same mat. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and move these down. So that way I say, for example, I'll have the red at the bottom, one blue in the middle, and another blue at the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and line them up, bottom, middle, top, and then I'll do the same thing for the next page. So now I'm going to go ahead and change these all to mirror. You can do that at the very top by clicking that little number 1. It'll either be 1, 2, 3. Click that and you can change it all to mirror. Now what I'm going to do is I need to choose glitter iron-on right there inside of the app so that way I can choose the glitter iron-on obviously because they don't have that setting on the dial. I'm going to go ahead and load this. Once again, I had to use my 12 by 24 mat for this because it was a bigger piece and I do think this is about 12 by 18. So it's going to cut both of those pieces of the cow print on the same one. All right, so while this is cutting, let's go ahead and move on to our Chromoblast. So I always try to be productive. So when something's cutting, I'm sure you guys do the same. While something's cutting, I'll move on to the next thing. So with my Chromoblast, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and prep up my t-shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pressing pillow. I have found with using Chromoblast, it's best to use a pressing pillow, if you will, because more pressure, the better it is to peel it off, and it just kind of goes down into the t-shirt. So I like to use a pressing pillow with mine. So I'm going to go ahead and get my t-shirt all the way up at the top there if I can, and then I'm going to go ahead and scoot it under, and I'm going to press it. So you definitely want to pre-press and remove any sort of lint when it comes to the Chromoblast because that will get trapped underneath your design. So this is just like sublimation and it doesn't have white ink. So you're going to be able to see that lint kind of trapped underneath there. So definitely make sure you guys always lint roll. That's why you may have noticed me kind of dust this sheet off. It's completely dry. I actually printed this a couple hours before and it's completely dry and I just kind of dusted to make sure there's no lint that got on top of it. So I'll just quickly fussy cut it around here. You could definitely use your Cricut or Silhouette, but I just went ahead and fussy cut. I leave a nice little small white border all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up on the t-shirt because that white border is just going to blend right into the white t-shirt. And then we're going to apply a piece of parchment paper and we're going to press. So this is different from sublimation. You only need 375 for 30 seconds. And once again, I like more pressure, but I like it with a pressing pillow. So trust me, it definitely makes a difference. And then you're going to quickly peel. quick, and there you have it. Now for me, I always like to do one last step. It'll help with the texture to make it super smooth. Apply your parchment paper one more time for around 2 to 5 seconds. It's just gonna make everything smooth, and then you're gonna peel this off nice and slowly at a corner. So there you go. So at a corner, at an angle, there you go, nice and smooth. Now, if you don't do that, you're gonna have a little bit of texture. So this is like super soft filling. It's got a little bit of screen print feel to it, very minimal, but this can go on 100% cotton. So that's what's really exciting. So if you guys have been wanting 100% cotton projects, definitely try the Chromoblast. It goes in the same printers as your sublimation, but you can't reuse the inks, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue to load all of the rest of my HTV. So with this one, you're going to see I'm going to go ahead and trim all of these down using my paper trimmer, because once again, we're just going to go ahead and load these all on the same mat. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all of these down. They're all going to obviously be the same size because they're all the exact same stars and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly trim all of these down and get ready to load them on my mat. Once again, these are Caesar Sparkle. I love this one. It doesn't have any texture to it. And then you have the holographic, is super pretty too. And then this is the Cricut iron-on in red. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line these up. So pay attention to your mat where each one starts. So say for example, if this one starts at 4.5, make sure you start it there, and then the one I just started from the bottom. So boom, one mat, instead of having to load the red, the next blue, the next blue, I can load it all onto one mat, and then I 2 times speed and I hit go. All right, so while that one is cutting, once again, I like to be productive. I'm gonna go ahead and trim away any sort of excess so I can save it for a later project. Now, when it comes to glitter iron-on, you don't even really need, unless it's small intricate stuff, a weeding tool. So you can simply just peel this stuff right up. So there you have it. Now, with something like that, you could definitely save it and use it for another project. So you could have a different look if you need to, like definitely like a background layer or something. Super cute. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of figure out about where do I want some of these prints to go. I know that I want a sleeve to be done. I know that I want a little bit on the back. And then it's just kind of figuring out, you know, are you the type of person that likes to pre-plan and really draw it out? Or are you just going to wing it? I'm a wing it type of girl. So I just start laying everything out, figuring out what I think works best, and then I'll continue just to move stuff around if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and unload those. I'm going to go ahead and load my next piece. Once again, just being productive and trying to do stuff in between. So this is going to be the same process once again, using one mat. So look, how many mats did I just save? 2, 4. So I saved an extra 4 mats. I didn't have to load by doing it this way. So I highly recommend when you're doing something like this to just load it all up on one. Don't change the colors, move it around and load your pieces. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and keep on going. I'm going to quickly weed out these pieces and pick up all of my mess around me. So with these ones here, they're super easy to weed. And once again, I absolutely love these colors. They're really cute. You could do a mixture. So this is a red, white, and blue theme. So I could have done like a red glitter and then a red solid. I could have even added in the red glitter, but I was trying to just kind of, you know, kind of do different textures because I already have the black glitter. So I had the red glitter out and I thought, no, that's probably just a little bit too much glitter. My niece is not a real fan of the texture of the glitter. She don't like how it rubs on her skin. So I try to avoid that. So I've only got one, which is the black, because the blue is sparkle. It has no texture. All right, so as you guys can see here, I'm just laying everything out. So you just kind of vision and start moving pieces. Now, what you see me doing here is I'm making sure there's no plastic laying on top of each other. So I can actually press it all at one time. As long as you don't have any plastic overlapping your HTV, you can actually press them all at once. I'm using a pressing pillow here on this is the sleeve, just to avoid any sort of seams. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just move on. I don't have to worry about that other piece hanging out underneath there because it's not going to get pressed, if that makes sense. So the pressing pillow helps eliminate the other pieces getting pressed. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, all of these are a hot peel, so I can quickly peel all of those up. And then as for my sleeve here, I'm going to go ahead and there's a seam there where the sleeve is, and I don't want to lay, because eventually that could kind of peel up. So I actually just cut that down so that way I separated it on the seams. So I didn't cut the HTV, just the plastic, just to separate it. So the first piece I pressed must have been the bottom of the shirt, but there you have it so far. How cute, right? You can stop right there. But if you're somebody like me, you can't stop. You just just keep going until it's just too much. Now, I knew that I wanted to completely wrap the whole sleeve. I knew that from the beginning. I wanted one sleeve completely wrapped as well as a little bit on the back, so I knew that. So what we're doing is we are now adding some of this to the very back. What do you do when you already have HTV on the other side? You're going to lay a piece of parchment paper down to protect your mat there. And then I put up my pressing pillow as well to avoid any seams. And then that's it. So as long as you've got parchment paper, you're going to protect your press. You're good to go. There you are. Got a full sleeve just like that. Super cool, right? All right, so we're going to keep going because once again, I'm somebody that just can't stop. I knew that I kind of wanted it really fun. I don't know about you guys, but for 4th of July here, we have a little town that's near us that everybody from all over different towns comes to. There's turtle races. There is chicken runs where the kids get in there and catch a chicken or a pig, and you get to take them home. It's really neat. So a lot of farmers and stuff like that, but it's a really fun. There's ice cream that's actually made like handmade, like Amish and all kinds of fun stuff. So for 4th of July here, we go all out. So we all, get your outfits going on. You have the hats made and cool little socks and stuff like that. So I really encourage you guys, if your community doesn't do that, maybe reach out and see what you guys can't do to pull something like that off. It's really fun for the kids. So here I go. I'm going to go ahead and get this sleeve. Now for this sleeve here, as you guys can see, I went ahead and used a pressing pillow right inside of there. So there's actually one for your sleeves. I slid it in there and then pressed that sleeve. So just like that. So it's coming out super cute. Once again, it may be overload. So some of you guys may not like this much, and that's okay. I'm just showing you guys that you can continue to add until you're just absolutely done, or, maybe less is more for you. So maybe you can visually see mine and say, hers was too much, so I'll do a little bit less. Now this shirt, the inspiration actually came from my niece loves when I make her shirts. And so she's staying with us for the summertime, and I was grabbing her a few outfits for the summer, and I thought I could make her shirts. So we got her a few biker shorts, and then I'm just making her shirts. And one thing she asked for, it was a cow print shirt, and that's where the inspiration came from. So always know, just kind of think outside of the box. I mixed a PNG with an SVG, Chromoblast with HTV, all sorts of different textures from glitters and all of that stuff. Play around with your scraps. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. As you guys can see the back, how adorable is this? This was my very first vision. Once again, the sleeve in the back, super cute, and then boom, Crystal Ann obviously put her little spin on it. So I love the way it came out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.